Kamado Waiganjo, and let's take it across the panel for now. Your overall reading of what is available so far. Of course, the full report, the hard copy is yet to get to our hands, but many have access to at least, anecdotes of the BBI report. What's your reading?
My reading is that, one, it doesn't take us backwards. It may not take us, I'm not sure it's going to fundamentally resolve our problems, but I think it gives us an amazing opportunity to ask the question of what ails Kenya. The report makes numerous references to the fact that our problem is a software problem. It is not a law problem. So while it makes changes, proposals for changes in the law, I think we must come to terms with the reality as a country that that is not where our fundamental problems lie. So yes, it is good to tweak, to make some of the changes we have made, but I do hope that instead of us looking at what's bad or what's wrong, who will be prime minister, who will be cabinet, to ask ourselves to have a very honest national conversation about what ails us. What takes away our ethos? Why do we celebrate an ethical conduct? Why do we elect people we know are thugs? Why do we do that? Why is it that we are corrupt in every sector of our society, private, public sector? That is a conversation I hope BBI forces us to have.
Yes.
In terms of the content of itself, I think it has got some, progressive proposals. I think a lot of proposals will require rethink, but I think on the whole, it's a movement forward.
Okay, Professor Naituli, the close to 2 years, actually it's 18 months, a little more than 18 months that the 14-member task force has been at work, and there was a bit of a delay before it was handed over to the president and leader of opposition, and 10 billion shillings after. Do you see this as worth all that trouble?
Well, the report, let me say it's a good report.
Yes.
But it's not congruent with the expenditure. 10 billion, if you take around the cost of 26 billion to parent, 10 billion, you would assume that these people are parenting real branches, not the branches in here.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to look at us as a National Cohesion Commission. We are there for 4 years. The same number got an average of 400 million per year. We are paying staff, paying rent, went everywhere in the country, and they use 1.6 million in 4 years, 1.6 billion. So 10 billion, I think there's a problem there. People need to look at it. But
yes,
let me just say something about the outcome of this process. This process is good. But if what drove us here was our electoral uncertainty, every election is cycle. I don't see that properly captured. Because our problem is actually not the structure of government. Our problem is in a transparent electoral process. An electoral process where some people don't trust. If I can quote Mr. Kamoto. Now, that lack of trust, how do we deal with it in order to bring indignity to our electoral system,
yes,
so that we can easily accept the results, the outcome of a democratic process?
Yes.
That is not appropriately captured in this report. Now, it's not captured because also we are people kind of celebrate impunity. We had an election which produced the handshake and then applied to this report. The election was overturned by the court. Not a single Kenyan has been put on trial over that mess, because it was a mess. The court told us it's a mess. The process was messy, but we have tried nobody. We need to see how we can deal with impunity,
yes,
perpetuation of impunity. We don't deal with impunity, we solve nothing by changing the structure of government.
All right, and Lutalala, you as an advocate of the High Court, as mentioned here by Kamodo Waiganjo, it's not about new laws or more laws, if to put it that way, to solve our problems, because we already have legal structures to solve our issues. From what you see right here, are there some issues that are presented that can actually help us?
Thank you very much, Mark. I associate myself fully with what Senior Waiganjo said. But let me say this, Mark. Impunity, theft of public resources, the spiraling public debt burden, electoral theft, conflict over national resources. I see nowhere where this report gives us a solution to that. In my view, the report is good insofar as it is minimizing conflict. But what this, ladies and gentlemen, set upon to achieve, in my view, along the journey, it has been neutralized. And I have my guess. My guess is that the Tanga team actually helped them to neutralize. They raised issues with what they wanted to see. And I think the big guys behind the task force decided they are going to play it safe, so they will please everybody. And therefore, this is a report that has no contention.
No contention.
The Tanga guys will have quite a number of things to like here, and so they'll run with it. The Kieleweke team will have something to run with, so they'll run with it. The end game is we have to wait until this very general, broad, apparently well-meaning proposals are reduced into law. That is where the tire shall meet the road,
Right.
in my view.
So to be translated or reduced into law, but you say you associate yourself with what Kamodo Waiganjo says, and we don't necessarily need more laws. So do you feel that this is just good on paper? It has to...
Oh yes, you see, amongst lawyers, when your colleague who has come before you has said something, you don't go to repeat it. That's why I said so. But now that you've asked again,
Yes.
look, the problem in this country has never been a shortage of laws. The problem in this country has been a shortage of men and women of goodwill and integrity who say and do what is right for this country.
Yes.
The positions that have been restructured or are proposed to be restructured in the Constitution, for example, the introduction of the position of Prime Minister, that is not the parliamentary system of government that we know it worldwide. This is a fellow who will just come in and become a flower girl. If this Constitution was amended in 2017, for instance,
Yes.
Jubilee Party will have not only the president, but also the prime minister, and will also appoint ministers from his MPs. This is a zero-sum game.
You're talking about the governance structure, which has been noted here in some of the proposals. But before we'll start with that as one of the issues, because everyone was asking, will this be parliamentary or presidential? Will this lead to, a referendum because of the cost implication there? And we'll talk to that. But Shiro, as a person who's keen on, social accountability, do you see this as it has been sold as an initiative for the nation? Has it lived to its expectation to that for the Kenyan, from what you see?
Thanks a lot, Mark. And I would say no, but it's not. It's just a bit more complex than that.
Yes.
From an accountability point of view, accountability is about answerability. So the point is, what is the political elite, the president, the executive, even the opposition leader, what are they answerable to the people of Kenya for the events of 2017? So a lot of things have not been discussed, and there has been no accountability, no answerability. We also have an economic crisis that is directly a result of the policies of the ruling party.
Yes.
There is no answerability, in fact, no mention about possible economic crimes against the people of Kenya, driving people into economic marginalization, and
Yes.
also creating conflict around the electoral process. So in that regard, this report fails spectacularly to be accountable to the people. What it does is that it is really political theater. We have been snookered. And I hope Kenyans will see through this and really say, no, we need to get out of the game. And we've been snookered because this report picks carrots for women, carrots for devolution, carrots for youth.
The youth, yes.
And it puts these carrots without a coherent framework. So it's not saying what's our fundamental governance system and how do we ensure there are checks and balances, there is accountability. It picks pieces from here and there and puts them in there. So reading it, I see some things that I really like. I like the bottom level accountability.
Yes.
Party lists having public participation, ensuring there is gender, fantastic. But how will that then translate upwards?
Yes.
Because we know we have had a problem at the National Assembly. There is no protection of counties in the National Parliament because the Senate is truthless. This report does not deal with that.
Yes.
So I would say this is a whitewash process, but this whitewash process is also trying to take us forward by taking us backwards. It's taking us forward from the chaos we have now, taking us back to the coalition government. Because the most I can say is that without a vision and failing to have a progressive mindset, they have said, well, things were a bit better when we had coalition government. Let's put some plaster, band-aid on our governance system and go back there. Instead of saying we need inclusive government, let us bite the bullet and really reform. So this is not a reform document.
Yes.
It has some reform proposals, but it is inherently inconsistent with itself. So good together with high risks.
Yes.
So what would we say? Pragmatically, like I agree with Kamodho, it doesn't take us backwards. It's not worse than the present, but really it's like saying you're a student who is on 40%, please get 55% and we'll be happy. That's where we are.
Someone might say it's actually a step ahead, at least, even if it's 55%.
No,
Professor.
I really want to say this is a step ahead, in my opinion.